Well, hello everyone. Ciao a tutti, as we say in Italian. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you to this webinar focused on the how and why Università Cattolica's leading management program produces year after year graduates of the highest academic standing, but also graduates that are ready to take on managerial positions in leading companies internationally and nationally. But first, a quick introduction of who we are. My name is Aishah Pathak. I am a Senior International Recruitment Officer here at Università Cattolica. Me and my colleagues, we are also regional managers. In fact, we often travel and are experts of the countries that some of you are following us from today. I'm here also with 3 current year final students of the M.Sc Management. So, hey guys, just say hi. Hi. Hello. You'll get to know more of these guys and their story later. But first, let's get something straight from the start. Location is very important. You are not looking for a bachelor degree, you're looking for a postgraduate program. And when you're looking for highly specialized know-how in a postgraduate program, the location where you do this matters. There are hundreds, thousands maybe, of management programs around the world. But when you're choosing one, doing one in a specific city can have more bearing than another. Let's see why Milan is the place to study management. You see, from the times that Milan was founded, even when the Romans conquered it and called it Mediolanum, in Latin that means in the midst of the plains. The strategic location up in the north of Italy has always been a central node for very intense commercial exchanges. It's not a surprise that since its foundation right up to this day, Milan is the economic capital of the country. You may know that Rome is the political capital. But Milan is capital also of the Lombardy region, is, for example, the city and the region with the highest contribution to the national GDP. It's just about a fifth. We also have the lowest unemployment rates, despite the European economic crisis that hit us. You may read also in the media that Italy has some struggles and our economic crisis is being affected. Well, our national data doesn't always do us justice. If you actually look into Milan's data, you'll see that we're faring pretty well. This may come as a surprise to you. I mean, I think most people around the world think of Milan as fashion capital, right? We have 2 design, well, other than being a capital of design, we also have 2 fashion weeks every year. Capital of design, actually just in April, recently we finished the Cuore and Salone del Mobile, which attracts thousands of international visitors every single year. Going back to finance, maybe some of you are following financial doings. Well, we're home to La Borsa Italiana, the Italian stock exchange. But Milan is just more than that. You know that we actually had an upsurge of foreign investment capitals going in, and we actually have a lot of tech giants in Milan as well. Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Samsung, these are just some of the names that have actually put their headquarters in Milan. But what about the nationals? National companies, national banks? Unicredit is huge. Okay, they just opened up. The rubber company Pirelli. Not to mention all the many fashion leading industries and names that were actually born in Milan. Something a little more recent, startups. We actually, in Milan, 15% of all startups are born here. In 2018, that actually is just over 1,500 startup companies. So perhaps any entrepreneurs in you or anyone looking to join up with startups, this is the place to go. But where is Cattolica in all of this? How is the university related to all of this? You see, our campus is centrally located. We're right in the beating heart of the city. This means a couple of things. First of all, it means that we are surrounded at 360 degrees by companies of all sorts, from the smallest SME right to the biggest national and international company. We are right close to it. So for you student who has to go into an internship, maybe even just for an interview, it's ease of access. Similarly, key directors, professionals of these companies have easy access to come and actually present here for our career day. We have a thriving career day. So that makes it all very easy, right? There is also another aspect. You may be familiar with the concept of work hard and party hard. Well, I think that's completely synonymous to Milan. You see, as a study abroad student, okay, you're a student coming to a different culture, possibly to a different continent. Learning about a country is also understanding its culture. And even though we're an incredibly academic university, it is important that you really make the most of what the city has to offer. It's such an energetic and vibrant city, it's almost impossible not to get involved. So in fact, I wasn't surprised at all when QS ranked Milan as the best student city to study and to live in. You know, other than the annual events that we were saying, actually one interesting fact that I learned recently was that we have the most theaters per capita. So all your culture, you know, Italy's often, the Italian culture is synonymous, right, to culture and to la opera italiana, you know, la Scala theater season. Well, for example, we're the most international as well. So you as an international student, that's handy. We have 3 international airports with many direct flights to a lot of your countries. We also have, for example, movies in the original language. About 10 years ago, it wasn't so easy to find, say, English or Spanish in cinemas, but now you can. Maybe it'll make it a little less homesick for you. Food, Italians, food is like religion, right? We're big on food. And we have about 15 Michelin star restaurants in the city alone. But what I think is interesting, again, for you as an international, is that Milan is, and this is reputed worldwide, we're actually a little more experimental when it comes to trends and different cuisines. So you'll always find different cuisines here. Soccer heaven. So AC Milan, Inter, playing in the temple of football of San Siro. Get involved, go and do that. Easy to get through with public transport. Again, how does the university play in all of this? So we actually give you student discounts. You have the right to have student discounts to access all of this. So even though, for example, I said La Scala, right, it's a world famous opera theater, but you actually can get student discounts to do that. It's affordable, it's within budget. As part of the service at orientation, we invite international student clubs and associations to reach out to you as well. And that's a fantastic way to network with also international students around the city, because Milan has a cluster of universities, leading international universities. So it's a great way. More about us specifically, we're private. In fact, we're the largest private university in the whole of Europe. What does that mean? It means that we can invest on services for international students. And this really is a point that maybe is taken for granted for Anglo-Saxon universities, so the countries that have been recruiting students for a long time, but for Italian universities, that really knocks us in contrast. All our efforts to work close with businesses, to try and get services, to get academic reputation is also reflected in the rankings. Since you're interested in management, it'll be interesting to know the social sciences and management subject area has been ranked in the top 200 by the QS subject rankings. My favorite ranking is actually the one regarding employability, because most of us are here to look for a job after a degree. And we're actually ranked #1 for employer-student connections. Another thing that really distinguishes us is our curriculum. it is a multidisciplinary curriculum. We're the first comprehensive university, which means that even though you'll be studying management, you'll be having influences from 12 other different faculties breeding into that. A bit of the sociological aspect, historical aspect, law aspect. This means that our graduates are a little more rounded. And it also means that you can really explore different areas within management. But I'm just going to take a step back now and ask, we have an international student here, Maite. Hi. So you as an international student, just like our audience, we're looking at university, and you went to a very good university in Bolivia, and you've had an experience, also a short experience in a unknown university called Harvard. So what made you choose Cattolica?
Well, to be honest, I was always with the idea of going to the United States and study there, but what really got my attention was that I didn't know anything about European culture, and more specifically, I didn't know anything about Italian culture and traditions. So I found myself very curious about this, and I started doing my research, and it was, for me, it was kind of like a destiny, because to me, I felt very connected to Italian tradition and its cultures. And as soon as I started learning more about how is Italy, about its history, about the traditions that they have, especially I came to Milan because of fashion, because this is something that I want to do. So I thought that Milan for me was the most perfect option for me. So basically, I made the decision upon this, and it was just to have a different cultural background and to build everything that I already knew into something that could be even more valuable.
But when you chose Italy and you chose Milan, there's quite a few universities in Milan.
Yes.
When you had to actually come and pay the first installment and confirm your place, was there any reason why you actually went for Cattolica as opposed to somewhere else?
Well, to be honest, I studied in Catholic University too, like in Bolivia, and I naturally have that influence coming from there. But mostly I chose Cattolica because I kind of read a little bit of its history, and I found out it's not just only private, but it's also one of the oldest universities that there is out there. So, and I found out that a lot of amazing people studied in Cattolica. For me, for example, I am a fan of Aishah, the last editor in chief of Vogue Italia, for example, and I noticed that she studied there. So knowing that I was going to study in the same place that amazing people studied, I think that was a good decision. So.
And very quickly, I know that also Federico and Chiara, they also were here at bachelor's. So, for example, Chiara, you could have gone elsewhere for your postgraduate. You're like, no, why is that? Why did you decide to stay?
Of course, I considered also other option when I had to choose my master degree. I did my first 3 years bachelor here in the Italian course, but then I decided to switch to the English management program. I decided to stay here because I really like the environment, I would say. I really love the connection with the professor and the connection professor have with all the companies in the territory of Milan. And so I think that the Cattolica network is really empowering me. So I would say, let's stay here.
That actually leads us to a very valuable point, which is the program, obviously. Okay. Now, a quick overview of the management program. Okay. So, first of all, you see that it's a 2-year program. What does 2-year mean? Because when you're doing research, if you're looking, for example, in the United States, the UK, some other European countries, you see that masters are done in 1 year. You see, in Italy, a master's of science, a laurea magistrale, is taught over 2 years, and it is seen as a continuation, a natural continuation of your bachelor degree. It is very academically intense in nature. It is highly academic training, and perhaps back in the day, it used to be predominantly theoretical. But now, Cattolica's Faculty of Economics really has changed. in the sense of innovating its program on offer for international students and the understanding that out there they need graduates with lots of practical elements. So in your first year, you do have the choice of customizing your study plan. And this is really something that not all national science offers. All programs don't offer such flexibility. And this is something that this program does very well. I don't know, do you want to give me, like, one of you, maybe some of his favorite modules, just to give us the audience an idea what kind of modules you're going with?
Okay, I would say, to tell the truth, in these 2 years, I only really dislike one course. Of course, can be everything perfect, but if I had to choose one, I would opt for the marketing course. And what I really liked about this course was the fact that we had basically 2 teachers. One was an academic professor, so she brought a lot of experience in teaching in this environment. And the other one was a marketing director. And so the positive point was that they were kind of complementary. And so we had both theory and more practical issues coming from the field project, I would say. And,
no, that's perfect, because you see this practical part is especially what gets done in the second year. So in the second year, this program really makes a marked difference amongst other programs because it has what we call business labs. And we have 5 different business labs: multinational, SMEs, consulting, healthcare, and luxury. Within this, you have a short introductory course, because, of course, to be a manager in, say, Gucci or a leading fashion company is very different to being a manager in a hospital, for example, in the healthcare industry. So that's what you do in the 5 business labs. So you really are trained to become a manager in an array of sectors. Afterwards, you have a field project or an internship, followed by final, say, big report and a thesis. Federico, care to explain what is actually the meaning, what is the difference between an internship and a field project, and how does a student go about choosing one or the other?
Well, at the end of the first year, students are asked to express their preference about an internship or a field project. An internship is basically is usually a 3-month period in which students work within a company, whereas the field project is more as a consulting work in which companies commission a project to a group of students, usually 6 to 5 members, and they are led by one professor that is going to be the team leader, and they are asked by the company to manage one issue. And at the end of these 3 months, you have a final presentation in which you will have to present in front of the whole management of this firm your project. And it's important to say that whatever your choice will be, you are constantly helped and led by your professor that follows you throughout all the steps, from preparing your CVs to getting ready for interviews and so on.
Great. So again, there's that concept of service constantly. Thank you for that. So I would say field project is, am I right in thinking it's more like a consulting project, so to speak?
Yeah, it's actually more than a consulting project, I would say, because you actually go in firms and you work with the management, you get interviews, and you also perform a lot of activities that helps you to understand how the company is working.
Okay, so practicing your team skills,
yeah,
which is always useful. All right, thank you for that. So we do obviously need to have partner companies to actually work and offer these field projects and these internships. Now I see that these are 20 partners. I mean, this can change in future, but these are pretty big names. You probably recognize some of them. we have Luxottica, we have IBM, obviously, we have, for example, the healthcare sector, we have Humanitas. So there's quite a few, and they really go from ranges, you know, everything from team size right through to their presence nationally and globally. So again, more word to the students. Now that we've understood what the difference is, can all of you go around and actually explain what you are currently doing as your internship or field project? Should we start with Chiara?
Okay.
Sorry, I went forwards. There we go.
Okay, as I said before, I did the bachelor here, and now I selected the master here. And I decided to enroll this year for the Fashion and Luxury Business Lab. So the very first choice was about the lab. And I already did this course. It was amazing. I was already interested in this topic. The fashion and the luxury world really appeals me. But it was an amazing course because I had the opportunity to learn a lot. Our professor made us make a lot of research, good projects. In one, I was working with Maite, and we did also many company visits. Some companies were the ones you said in the slide before. And then at the end of the course, I started to the recruitment process. So I got some interviews with the company, and now I've been selected for Telios. So I'm doing my internship in Telios. Telios is a company that was born last year and is a joint venture project between Marcolin Eyewear and the French luxury group LVMH, that is one of the partners, of course. As you may think, the company is competing in the eyewear industry. To go specifically in my position, I have been assigned to a trade marketing position. I am supporting and working directly with the EMEA marketing manager, trade marketing manager, and with the EMEA sales manager. I'm very happy about my position. I spent my entire week there because the working time goes from 9 in the morning till 6. That is basically 8 hours a day. Full time. Yeah, full time job. It's quite a new adventure, let me say, because it's not that easy to get used to this rhythm. But it's really an amazing experience because I have some responsibilities. Of course, not that much. You can imagine it's my very first working experience. But I have my activities, and it's a kind of challenge for me because you're involved. And I'm very happy. Yes, let's say that.
Good, good. What about you, Maite? You're also in the luxury sector, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm also in fashion and luxury, and I also did my career as a business lab in fashion. And for me, I chose to do a field project, and I was assigned to work with this e-commerce platform called Rivalia, which now merged with another company. It's now actually called BP. And I don't know, Rivalia is a very important company now, especially in the Italian business. Yes, and what's very interesting about this is that I used to have a very financial background. So with this, working with this new company, I got the chance to kind of learn how it is to work with a fashion company. So and what the field project is about, we basically have to do this project related to omnichannel. So it's a completely very innovative type of project, and I work with the team, and I am guided by a professor who works as our tutor, so she helps us out a lot, and she knows a lot about fashion and luxury. And apart from that, we have to present this project after 3 months, which is the same amount of time that it takes to do also an internship, and we have to present the presentation to the managers. And after we present this real project, because it's a real project, it's not something that is hypothetical, it's an actual project that is maybe going to get executed by the company after the whole project ends. So we're learning as we're doing from this experience. So it's been a really tough but very signing process, to be honest.
I guess if I were in your shoes, I mean, the fact that it's a real project can be pretty motivating, no? Because it's not just a hypothetical, theoretical aspect. It's something that, you know, you can see your project actually implemented, and that probably is pretty motivating and something great on your CV as well. What about you, Federico? You have a completely different business lab.
Yeah,
What's
my
yours?
business lab is about multinational enterprises, and I choose to perform a field project because I thought that it would be great to develop some teamwork and communication skills. So we are a team of 5 people, and we are doing this project for Exotica, the famous eyewear company, which is based in Milan. And we were asked by some of the managers of Exotica to map some activities. So the field of the work is supply chain management, and we were asked to identify some key processes and identify some KPIs to measure how Exotica is performing this kind of process. And finally, we came up with some ideas and suggestions about what can be improved. And of course, this is quite a challenge because, well, it's quite hard to go to Exotica and say, yeah, you have to improve this and that. But it's a really good project. And I mean, it's what people are actually doing in firms. So this kind of project. So it's actually something that is going to be really useful for your future job.
It's interesting listening to you, how you kind of all gone like, it's really challenging, but I'm happy. So could you sort of, without taking too long, I mean, because I know we're conscious of time, is just say, maybe one of you, what are the strengths and what are the challenges, so that our audience knows what to expect when you're doing a field project or an internship, because of course they're very different in nature. So for example, you're doing an internship, so possibly like one challenge or one thing that you're particularly excited about.
The challenge for sure, the fact that I don't know if Federico highlighted this, but when you do the field project, you are supported by the professors. So when I had to choose at the very beginning, I was like, oh, maybe it's a good idea to go and look for a project within a company, so I'm really directly involved, but I have the support of the teacher. While in an internship, of course, you are, let's say, alone. I have been very lucky because I am in a team of 6 people in my office, and they are all very kind to me, and they are always explaining me, asking me if I have understood or not, if they should repeat again. So I've been very lucky, I know. And so the challenge is that, of course, you are alone.
Yeah, you're very responsible.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
You have some responsibilities, but then, of course, you can surely learn a lot. And maybe another challenge is about the time. As I said before, you are involved in a full-time job, even though they are 3 months, it's still full-time. So you have to be very updated with the exam and the course you have to do, and you have to write your thesis to graduate at the end of this 2-year program. So you have to be
Time skills.
Right, time skills, yes.
Time skills and discipline, of course.
But it's an amazing choice, I would say.
Yeah, no, it definitely give you a taste of the real career world. What about, I know my case, especially if you're an international student, as a field project, is there something you would suggest, recommend, because you actually chose a field project?
Yeah,
as opposed to an internship. So is there something that is particularly the reason why you did that?
Well, I chose it because it was not going to be my first work experience, and so I wanted to get something extra. I wanted to know how a consulting work and project is done, basically because of that. But I would say that for international students, one of the pros that you get for choosing a field project is that you don't feel so pressured with maybe Italian language, because when you have to do an internship, you're basically going to work in Italian partly in English too, but you have to really be very fluent with the language.
So a top tip would be, of course, the program is 100% in English, but if you be proactive, and once you're here, take opportunity of all the different language programs that are offered both inside and outside the university. Because of course, I think the more comfortable you are with Italian, the better integration, but also it will be a useful ally no matter what team or what job you end up doing. Well, just to finish up, like the future. So what ambitions have you got? Any career plans? What's next?
I really hope that once my internship experience ends, I will be offered a position within the company. I have been told that they are happy with my job at now, even though it's just 1 month. So I really hope this, and I can say that I have a golden opportunity in my hands. And
we actually have a track record of students actually getting an employment offer after their internship. So fingers crossed for you. What about you, Mike? What's in for you?
I hope to stay in the fashion industry, to be honest, because I am now very involved in it. I think one of the perks of the university is that taking the courses pushed me to get more involved in this type of sector. So I hope to still be involved in this. Right now, I am working on my thesis, and I'm working on a thesis related to a very famous luxury brand. So I am hoping that in the end of all of my studies, I get an opportunity, whether it's in Italy or whatever it is.
We actually have a 100% graduate employment track record after this program. So I'm sure that you're all going to be doing very well. Federico, do you have anything particular, or are you still trying to figure it out?
Well, I'm still not 100% sure about what to do in the future, but what I'm sure about is that I'd like to work in an international environment and in a challenging environment. And who knows?
Well, the reason why we also offer English top programs is because Italy does struggle with languages, and companies are desperate for students like these, or like you will be, that will actually have the English business language, which it is, as well as your own mother tongue as well. So it is particularly, I think you're going to be in an international environment, and that's going to be fantastic for you, because of course you've got your English degree as well to help you with that. Well, thank you, and I wish you all the very, very best. I'm sure you'll be doing very well. So now, say you've decided, you've got an idea of the program, just very quickly, application and requirements. As I said before, the program is a continuation of the bachelor, hence you do need a relevant subject in your bachelor's degree. So for example, economics, management, business studies. If you have done something different, you do need to have 4 of 5 subjects that you see up on the screen. GMAT or GRE are not required. English is required because the program is taught 100% in English. So you do need, for example, an IELTS of 6 overall or a total of 83. If you have studied in full English language and bachelor's, you are exempted instead from the English proficiency language. The application is very easy. Everything is online. You scan and upload your documents. And these documents are simply your bachelor transcripts, your bachelor degree, if you've already finished, your passport, your updated CV, and a motivation letter, and an academic reference letter. There are deadlines, of course. So if you are applying for this September, if you're a non-EU national and you need a visa, you should apply by 15th of May. If you say you're an EU national, then you have until the 13th of June. How much does it cost? We said we're private, so money is important. Our tuition fees are 8,500 euros for non-EU residents. So please note that tuition fee is calculated on ways to pay taxes as opposed to your nationality. So we have a tuition fee of 8,500, but with a UCSC International Scholarship, which is merit-based, this goes down to 5,750, okay, just under 6,000 euros. If you instead are paying taxes inside the European Union, it goes according to family income, and it will go between roughly 3,600 or 4,000 euros to maximum about 9,000 euros. There is also the option of applying to a financial aid scheme of the Italian government working alongside Cattolica, which is called EduCat. Let's say that the advantage of that, the pro, is that you would have your entitlement waived if you are eligible. However, the downside of that is that you only apply once you're already here. So, of course, in case you're not eligible, you need to have the money as a backup as well. The living cost is expected at 10 to 12,000 euros a year. Right. That's us done. Guys, did you want to add anything before we pass on to question and answers? Not particularly? No, you've been very, very comprehensive, so thank you for that. Of course, this webinar really just inspires you and hopefully will trigger a lot of questions, so please feel free to get in touch with us at any point, and we will have your questions answered. And of course, feel free also to reach out to the students so that if you want to have a chat with them and just understand them better, I'm sure they're more than willing also to get it to reply to your questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's start with the questions. We already received few questions here, but I would like to ask everybody who is online to ask their questions in the chat box. Shall we start with the first questions? Actually, we have a few questions regarding the tests, and you already answered a few of them. We have a question: if I have a bad result in one of the tests, can I overcome it with a better CV, for instance?
Okay, so we need to clarify the word tests. As I said, GMAT or GRE are definitely not even needed. The most important aspect is your transcripts at university. Okay, so what you're actually doing at university. And it's the subjects related to management that make a difference. I'm going to take an extreme example. Imagine having a top grade, for example, in sports at university. That, of course, to the professor is not as relevant as perhaps your economics module that you may have done. So it's important to have good grades at university, even though we don't have a minimum GPA to give you as such. But we will look at the overall transcript, the admission office, and the professor will look at the overall transcripts and the subjects that are relevant there. And of course, when it comes to the test, it's your English proficiency test that makes a difference. As long as you hit that minimum, we're fine with that. If your scores are not the ones that are, that we require, then I suggest you retake your IELTS or your TOEFL, for example. The good news is you can submit your application without having those test results ready, as long as you're ready to when the test result will be ready. Okay. Anything else I need to add upon that? I think that's the main thing. Oh yeah, sorry, about CV. Work experience is not mandatory. This program is conceived for students that have no work experience or maximum, like the United States, 1 year, 2 years experience. But it's not an executive program, it's not an MBA. So your CV is only partly important in the selection process. We do ask for it, but the main selection process will be your cover letter and your bachelor's thesis.
Okay, so this way we also cover the question of Helen Stult, who asked, do you need work experience or can I catch up with the experience during the internship? Okay, we have also a question regarding the internships. I will follow the questions in chronological order because it's easy to follow them up. Who chose the internship? Can you group in your internship with other friends from your class?
Okay, I would say that it depends. I mean, the partnership. Sorry.
No, go ahead. You're the one doing the internship, I guess, right?
So there are some partnership between the university, so Università Cattolica, and some specific companies. So you first have to choose. You have to choose for the business level. So I had to choose, for example, for fashion and luxury, and then there were different companies. And according to your CV, to your preferences, to what you prefer, okay, you are assigned to some companies, okay? And then you go on with the interviews. What happens is that, for example, in my case, for Telios, there was just one position available, We did the interviews. We were 6 girls, and I was the only one who had the opportunity to stay there. On the contrary, for example, some of my friends did an interview with Pomellato, that is an important company in Milan, based in Milan, and there they are 4. So they are not working together, I mean, in the same team, but they are working in the same building, let's say, so for a different position within the same company. So it's not that you are or aren't with friends, it can be, I don't know. It really depends year by year according to the position. What I can say is that, of course, once you enter this work, maybe not for this internship experience, but maybe later you always create contacts. So maybe if there is one position, the company can ask if you have like colleagues coming from your studies that you want to suggest. This is something looking for farther future.
Networking is a buzzword.
Yeah, it is.
Networking is a buzzword. One thing I'd interject, you did mention you obviously get to choose what you prefer when you're doing your business labs or when you're doing your choice between internship and field project. Grades matter as well, so make sure you try to, of course, perform well in your first year and try to get the grades as sort of as high up there as possible and keep track of the rest of things, because they will do a ranking, and of course good grades place you in a easier position to get what your preferred choice and selection of business lab is.
If you want to get into the field that you decide, like if you want to be in fashion or multinational, you have to make sure to have good grades. Also, your curriculum counts in this case, and just be very proactive, guys.
Yeah, if I can add just something more, I mean, yes, we say high grades in the exam, but I would say that you don't have to be worried because, of course, as we said, we are theoretical, so there is always a theoretical part, but I would say that maybe not all, but the majority of the courses are divided into modules, and so you will be also evaluated, so your final grade of this module will depend also on a project that you can do with a team of 3 or 5, it depends on the course. So it's not only theory, but you have also to do a group research or project work. So it's super easy to do it, and if, as Mike said, you are proactive and you want to put all your energy in this program. So your standards high.
Set your standards high, right? So, any other questions?
Yeah, there are a lot of other questions, but we have additional question regarding the topic. Can we choose the project, or we better choose the company for internship? Probably the candidate means, do they apply for a company or do they apply for a project, or combined probably?
Okay, should we just sort of re-clarify the difference between field project and internship? I'll just go with the basic, sort of the bottom line is, you are working, regardless of internship or field project, with a company anyway. So of course, it's all about getting exposure and networking and experience with a company.
I think the big difference between the two of them is that when you do an internship, you're an insider. And when you do a field project, you work as an outsider, so you get the chance to be the consultant, to be the one who advises the company from an outside point of view. And that's also very valuable. Also, it doesn't mean that you don't work with the people that work at the company. In my case, for example, I get to have 1 to 2 meetings a week with the managers that I'm working on. So you really get exposure within the company, and also from the outside you get to kind of time yourself and organize yourself. I would say a field project is not for people that like procrastinating, because you have to manage your time.
Deadlines.
Yeah.
And about the choice, let's say that you can't choose the company doing the field project because, of course, as Federico said before, for example, in Luxottica supply chain is something that is a project for this year. So, of course, we don't know what is going to be in the future. So you don't choose the company of the field project, is the, let's say, the partnership that Cattolica has. And every year they develop new projects to put students working on. So every year things changes. Partners more or less are still the same. They always evolve. They are evolutioning, but I would say that you can choose. Yes, it's a surprise. In this case, you can't choose.
Flexibility. Always be flexible. It's a key life skill to have.
Yeah, but it's important to know, they tell you at the beginning, that the internship or the field project is not something that's going to define your life.
No, no.
Maybe, I don't know, she will end up in some other company with the LVMH report, whatever it is.
The important thing is to have the right attitude and the right know-how academically with practice that you can then, you know, move around easily within jobs or within sectors and industries.
Okay, and we have actually 2 questions regarding the visa requirements for the working permits during the internship and afterwards. Do you support your students receiving work permits during do they need it during the internship? A question from Russia. And another question, do you support afterwards?
Okay, so when you do an internship, it's part of your curriculum. Therefore, you don't need a work visa. You will be here. You will first get a study visa to enter the country, and then within 8 to 10 days of your arrival, as a non-EU, you will apply for a permit of stay for study purposes. That allows you to do the internships that you need to do. The work permit, or the permit of stay for work purposes, that is something that you can apply for once you finish studying, once you graduate, and if you find a job, then at that point, you move your permit of stay visa from studying to work, and that's when you have a work permit. I do take the opportunity, though, something slightly different but still connected, which is working part-time. Maybe some of you are thinking, I need to, you know, maybe for experience, maybe for budget reasons, work part-time during my studies. Well, it's possible, even as a non-EU, you can work 20 hours per week. However, first priority is always academia, so university, and it is intense. And as you can see, if you're doing an internship, you're already working basically full-time. Second is obviously learn Italian, because even to do the most basic, say for example, a waitressing job, of course, you need to understand the clients. So if part-time work is something that you're very keen on, I would say first invest in Italian language course and getting to grips with your program and understanding time management and understanding, settling in well before then thinking about part-time jobs.
Okay, thank you. We have another question. What should be the ideal candidate for Cattolica? Richard would like to know.
Okay. Well, let's say, I say this throughout my 8 years of career in the field, it's about fit, right? And you asked a good question, because in Cattolica, there are some students that will fit better than others. Experience shows that international students that thrive, and here I include definitely mine, it's first of all, proactivity. Okay, so you need to be very proactive in everything, from finding out just even simple information about Italian higher education, right through to having to ask for help in different offices, trying to learn Italian, in so many different areas of the spectrum of your student life. You need to be very proactive. Okay. The ideal Cattolica student also is comfortable with academia, and again, proactive comes into this. Everyone struggles at some point in their life with some aspect or something. The difference is those that ask for help and do actually something about the issue, and those that don't. So, of course, you have to be also willing to study hard, okay? And as long as you ask for help when necessary, and as long as you sort of really put that as your key priority, you'll be happy. But this is a very academic university. So I would say be proactive, be good at academia, and be willing to experience different cultures, because Università Cattolica brings 100+ nationalities every year. So don't come and stick with just your own nationality. Make sure you interact with the Italians, get to know their culture, and also interact with the other diverse nationalities that we bring on board. That's also your future networking as well. Future possible employers and colleagues as well that you're talking with. So, would you say there's anything else ideal to talk about candidate? No, not particularly. Come and find out for yourself. Come visit, come talk to us. You can talk to also other students of different nationalities. We have, as I said, over 100, so I'm sure we can get you in touch with some other students as well.
Okay. We also have additional question, probably towards one of the students. Did you speak Italian before you applied? And do you need Italian to work during the internship?
Well, that's a very interesting question. To be honest, I didn't know a lot of Italian when I applied to Cattolica, but like I said before, as soon as I decided that I wanted to go to Italy, I paid more attention to Italian tradition and culture, and so just by...
I confirm there is absolutely no requirement to learn Italian before you arrive. The program is 100% taught in English, so that's why we ask you for English proficiency know-how, not Italian. The difference is that if you do put some effort into learning some basic Italian, it just facilitates you. It gives you perhaps more area of options. Instead of having, say, maybe, I don't know, 8 companies to apply for, you may have 15 companies to apply for at that moment. So no, there's no requirement, but it's definitely something, a big hint for yourself. Especially if you're actually planning on staying in the country or targeting Italian companies in your own home country or targeting your country's companies within Italy, of course. So anything related to Italy, a basic level of Italian is always a big plus. And it's a language skill, so it's always something very valuable.
Yeah, and I would say that in the working field, it's really important if you know one more language, because if you want to stay in Italy, as she said, of course, it's a plus. And also, when you do an interviews, if the interviewer sees that you can put effort in doing something, such as learning a language that is completely different from your mother tongue, it's a valuable aspect for you, for your CV. And if you want to go back, so if you plan to just do this like academic experience in Italy and then you go back to your country, maybe it's even more important because you can search for a job there and you have the most important card and say, okay, I also speak Italian. I am currently speaking with some distributors we have in Russia, for example, and of course, when a Russian guy said, even though 3 words in Italian, it's very nice, clear. So it's really
always
important. Yeah,
it's culture. It's
yeah.
always cultural bridges that you're creating.
I would just say, guys, I feel like Italy, just learning Italian is very fun. It's a very fun language to learn, to be honest. So you'll have a very great time learning the language too.
It's not just pizza and the ciao.
Yeah, it's a lot of things, expressions, it's a lot of things to do. And also, it makes you have contact with more Italians, so you learn more about them, and you also build a network.
Yeah, it should definitely not be a deterrent for coming over. So, and I think we did say before, Milan is the most international city. So, you can do it in your own time and at your own pace.
Well, perfect. We have a few more questions regarding the application process. Cohen asked what was the most difficult part in the application process before you get accepted. So probably from your experience as current students or from the point of view of admission director.
Okay. Usually from our side is that around the world, a lot of people want to study management, but they haven't got a bachelor in management. So unfortunately, that's quite a bit of a sort of a natural dropout and a bit of a block. Saying that, as I said, there's a lot of, for example, other subjects and careers where you maybe have done a degree in management or a degree in economics, but you may have done subjects on that as part of your other subjects. So that usually is the hardest part, is to find people with already, you know, the academic background. But then, I mean, the Cattolica also does have also other programs as well. So in case of doubt, send us an email, maybe send us your CV, and we can try and tell you, you know, in advance whether, you know, you might actually have a shot for Master of Science in Management, or whether you should look at some other alternatives.
So you can redirect.
So we can redirect.
Perfect. And we have a question: how much time it takes to understand if I'm accepted? Probably after you fill in the application.
Okay, so we have different rounds. So that's why I said the next deadline, for example, for non-EU students is 15th of May. And the guaranteed feedback turnaround is 4 to 6 weeks. So let's say on average a month and a half. However, this is guaranteed by that date. It's very possible that you get a feedback much earlier, especially now that we're nearing towards the visa process, because you have to apply for visas in the summertime. There's some very strict deadlines. So if you did apply now, you probably have an even faster turnaround, just because we need to get you up and running for your visa. But yes, officially, even on our website, you'll see it'll say about 4 to 6 weeks after the deadline is submitted by.
Okay, and we have finally a few questions regarding the scholarships.
Okay.
Well, basically, if I can summarize them, what is the most important quality that you're looking for when applying a scholarship, and how can I get a scholarship if I have a great experience?
Okay, so there are 2 types of scholarships. Our UCSC International Scholarship is merit-based. So since it's not always exactly easy to get an offer, I mean, based on your grades, maybe what university you attended, considering also your English level, there's a ranking. And if you are made an offer, there's a pretty high chance that you'll be offered a UCSC International Scholarship, which takes it down from 8,500 to just under 6,000 euros. The nice thing is as well that it's applied over the 2 years as well. Okay, so you're looking at just about 12,000 euros or less as investment, okay, for your tuition fee as a non-EU taxpayer. There, it's all about merit. Okay. Instead, for the, let's say, the government scholarship, the Diritto allo Studio, which is via EduCat, the Office of Cattolica with the government, there it goes according to your income, so your family income, as well as merit. So of course they're not going to invest and pay, you know, someone who's obviously, you know, very weak, for example, as, you know, a university has failed. So merit is obviously still important, but their very large chunk of it is your financial income. So there's different parameters there that they consider. How do you get a scholarship? Apply. Apply, and then, you know, based on that, you can try for UCSC scholarship, or once you arrive, you have to apply for the government one. Whatever you decide to do, obviously always prepare for the worst case scenario where you don't get a scholarship, just so that you know that realistically what your budget is, and that with or without scholarship, you know, you'd still be able to sustain yourself. So that's my top tip. And of course, by the way, you have to show some money also for your visa appointment. So you do need to show 6,000 euros in your bank account if you're going to apply for a visa as well.
Okay, thank you. Actually, that were all the questions so far. We can see the email and the website on the screen. So everybody who would like to ask additional questions, please ask them directly to the university, or you can reply to the emails you've received so far. All that have attended this webinar will receive a recording, a link with a recording 1 week after the webinar, so you will be able to review again the entire webinar. And if you have additional questions, you can ask them again. First, I would like to thank our wonderful presenters for the interesting presentation. Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting. Thank also to everybody who attended our webinar. Wish you luck in your application and have a great day so far.
Hope to see you in Milan. Ciao, ciao.